Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for being here. I will be talking to you about how technology is the fundamental foundation for solving sustainability. In my work with Beyond Enterprises, where I am managing advisor, we think about how to apply technology every day to add value to the projects of our clients. If you want to receive the copy of my slides, you are welcome to take a photo of this slide, and then with leisure you can download them anytime. I have been always passionate about technology. As an early adopter, I became part of the Bitcoin and then broader blockchain technology movement over 10 years ago. Actually, this is the photo of my first tweet about it, which I sold as an NFT a year ago on its 10th anniversary or thereabouts. For those of you who know, at the time NFTs had a great popularity, more like artworks. So I asked the person who purchased the tweet, what are you planning to do with it? And he told me, well, I will keep it for another 10 years and we'll see what will happen in the meantime. The narratives that we create around technology matter a lot. The way that we frame the narratives shape our thinking. When the pseudonymous Satoshi Nakamoto introduced Bitcoin in the white paper published that made it known around the world, he didn't mention what is now called mining, the activity of securing the network. And mining is seen as something negative, tainted by the pollution as we think about the traditional mining activities. But it turns out there could be an alternative way of thinking about it. And 8 years ago, I wrote an article proposing an alternative metaphor of weaving, which is a communal experience. The threads represent the transactions. The applications on top of the network emerge as a pattern in the fabric that becomes stronger and stronger as additional threads are weaved in our activity of using Bitcoin. So you get a feeling why I am saying that framing technology in a way rather than another way can make a big difference. I collected this and other ways that I think about how technology is changing the world in my book, where I really articulate the fundamental message in which I believe that humanity is defined by technology. If you think about it, the big difference between us and the dinosaurs is that they didn't have telescopes. We do. And luckily, both metaphorically, we are using the power of reason and the wonderful solutions that learning about the world provides us with. But we are also using it concretely. Some of you may have seen the incredible result achieved by the European Space Agency and NASA together in the DART mission, where we have proven our ability to deviate an asteroid from its course, which we now know was what ended up with the extinction of the universe and allowed us to emerge. In the past, we used technology in ways that showed our ignorance about the world as well, at least in a relative scale. I mentioned already mining activities that were and still are extremely dangerous, not only polluting, but also in transportation, or even something as basic and something that we take granted today as illumination. In the past, we had practices that today horrify us as we think about them, like extracting oil from whales in order to illuminate our evenings in Europe. Well, we have started to understand the nature of our processes. We have started to understand how dangerous certain paths were. Finally, I think we have come to the conclusion, culminating in our understanding that it is unsustainability itself that is unsustainable. And today, we are living in a world that is starting to rethink at the most radical possible way its practices. We live in an exponential world. The easiest example is that of our computers, which we have accustomed to see doubling in power every couple of years or so through our phones, smartphones, and now the nodes of the Internet of Things in billions and tens of billions of units around the world, enabling us to understand it ever better. Of course, interpreting the weak signals of emerging new phenomena is always very complicated, since we do not have a clear filter that enables us to sift through the data, distinguishing between noise and signal, while the trend is not abundantly clear and significant for everyone to decode. Stanford University 3 years ago published a report of a survey they did of artificial intelligence. And they concluded from their data, once they interpolated it and plotted it out, that there were two different eras for artificial intelligence. One until approximately 2012 that followed Moore's law, doubling in power every 2 years or so, and what they claimed this new era where AI doubles in power every 8 months instead. Well, they were wrong, because we are not talking about two eras of AI. What we are seeing is a new phenomenon, a new family of technologies actually that is characterized by an increasing rate of acceleration in its ability to impact the world. I called these jolting technologies by the first derivative of acceleration, mathematically speaking. And the easiest example we have around us is that of a rocket with engines at full throttle consuming the propellant that is able to increase its acceleration as it aims to achieve orbit. We have now, thanks to the power of jolting technologies, a new set of experiments available to us. Actually, we can increase by orders of magnitude the experiments that we are carrying out, including the methodologies of these experiments. Years ago, as an investor, I would meet projects and they would be very careful in releasing and sharing their business plans, maybe only under a non-disclosure agreement. Well, in the world of blockchain, the white papers that are the equivalent of the business plans are widely shared. Blockchain is not only open source in the code of the tokens like Bitcoin and the equivalent, but it is open source also in terms of its business models. And anyone who is familiar with modern platforms knows that open source won. It is now the dominating set of solutions in the powerful platforms that we are using daily. And that is why adopting open source business models is poised to win, is poised to lead to faster and better experiments and an ability to cross-fertilize and cross-contaminate, including that the native tokens of the projects become the viral vectors that are spreading the knowledge and the understanding and the ability to act across the world in a borderless manner, in an inclusive manner, way faster than it has ever been possible. The impact in terms not only of ability to implement infrastructure, ability to experiment with business models, but also in terms of the ability to organize at an arbitrarily large scale alternatives to past hierarchical structures is evident at all levels, including the levels of nation states that are waking up to the possibility of their own obsolescence, and to how urgent it is to find what are the right ways to think about distributed and decentralized structures that can be adequately resilient in a new era that we are now entering. Including that, very appropriately, for an era of jolting change, while someone like me is preparing the slides for a presentation, the news items are so important, so disruptive, that we have to keep the slides up until the last minute to be able to include disruptive, important announcements that too many people are not even familiar with, like the coming availability of humanoid robots, completely changing the fundamental economic paradigms that are dictated on the scarcity of labor. We have to urgently start thinking about what are the implications of these, as well as other systems that are already available, and we have to be able to use them, exploit them. I believe that we are on the verge of a civilizational transformation, a phased transition of importance that encompasses humanity, encompasses the whole planet, but even beyond. We are learning sustainability. We are learning it in a manner that takes advantage of the luxurious environment where we have air, we have water, we have soil, we have so many ecosystem support infrastructure available to us. We believe at no cost. In reality, we are realizing that there is a cost. But as our ambitions grow, we will realize not to take any of those for granted. The Martian colonies that many of us are dreaming about will have to be 100% sustainable. not 99.999. Recycling and recovering air, water, soil, in order to survive, will be unquestionably their most important task and their most important export knowledge towards Earth. The process is unstoppable. The process is wonderful. And I believe that with the help of technology, we will achieve sustainability. Thank you.